you're watching this, you're getting ready to come out as trans to your brother, sister, relative, or worst of all, your parents. Don't be afraid. Just chill. Just vibe with me. We're gonna go over the 5 steps to get you ready for that big day. Okay, and phase 1 is you gotta be sure. And I know a lot of you curled up like a little trans worm when I said be sure, but I'm not asking you to be sure of what you are. That would be a wild act. I don't even fucking know what I am, you know? I'm simply asking you to be sure that you're questioning. If you're watching this video right now, you're questioning. And side note, a lot of the times when somebody is questioning whether they're trans or not, usually they're trans. I mean, what kind of cis person is watching this video right now? Okay, I'm joking, but you know what I mean. Cis people don't usually question whether they're trans or not. So yeah, when I'm saying be sure, just be sure that you're questioning. You don't have to know what you are just yet, but embrace the fact that you're on this journey and you're finding it out. But therapy definitely helps. You're probably gonna have to go through some level of therapy anyway to get prescribed any sort of HRT. So it definitely doesn't hurt to see a therapist and talk through all your feelings and everything with them. And although they won't be able to tell you like what you are, they can certainly help guide you through this process and also diagnose you with gender dysphoria if you have it, which is just another part of being sure. If you're at the behest of your parents, they don't exactly need to know you're trans because you don't even know that yet. But if you're questioning, you can literally say, hey, I need therapy. They don't have to know it's because you think you're trans yet. You're going through some stuff and you want therapy. Therapists, for the most part, keep things confidential. So once you're in that room, you don't have to worry about them outing you or anything. Also, you need to be sure that you want to go on this journey in the first place. A lot of trans people, we stay inside, we eat hot chip, we keep our heads down. This is because there's a lot of transphobic people in the world. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that trans people as a concept is one of the biggest dividing social issues in America right now. People have opinions and they can be nasty. If anybody ever told you that being trans was a breeze, they were probably lying to you. And if that's making you pussy out or scared, I want you to imagine what your mental health would be like if you never transitioned. Do you think that you could potentially be pushed to a point of unaliving if you kept pretending? If the answer is yes, then you know what the better option is. You need to come out. Okay, this brings us to phase 2. Gather political beliefs. The left side of politics, and I don't know which side is left for you guys, but the left side of politics, so leftists and liberals, are a lot better about trans people than a conservative Republican or people on the right. And popular right-wing talking heads have literally said things like, and I quote, trans people should be eradicated. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this to express to you what kind of propaganda videos the people around you could be watching. A lot of people don't talk to their friends and family about politics, and it's understandable because if you say one thing the other person doesn't like, it could spark an argument. But today we're going to use it as a tool. If we can find out what they believe about our country, we can deduct from that just how hot-headed they're going to be about you being trans. I'm sorry if you're not American, but ask them something simple like, so who do you like more during this election? And we're going to create a graph with a green box, a yellow box, and a red box, just so we can organize everyone we're going to come out to. If they say they're liking the Democratic ticket more, then you can probably put them in the green box for now. Most people on the left don't give a fuck about your body as long as you have your rights. They mostly care about policy. Now, if they say something like, I don't really know, I don't care about politics, that's actually a good thing. They haven't been propagandized in any particular way. So they're basically, you know, normies. Normies usually have the opinion that trans people are weird and they don't really understand it, but they haven't been told to hate trans people, which is the big difference. So they can safely go in our yellow box. If you have a conversation with them first, they'll actually know a trans person at that point, right? So they'll be less inclined to listen to people who say all of these horrible things about trans people. Now, if they say something like,
I'm voting for Trump,
and I'm sorry, I'm from Florida, I've been around it all my life, I get your pain, and to be honest, it's quite likely that they're transphobic, since trans bad is kind of like one of their main talking points. So I'd go ahead and probably fit them in the red box for now. And I'm sorry that I'm relating to politics so much, but that's just the reality that we live in. As trans people, we just can't afford to fake amongst ourselves or dance around the facts or pretend to be centrist because they don't like us, bro, and you can't pretend that they do. Lastly, if the person you really need to tell is in the red box, don't worry just yet. Sometimes the love that they have for you is far greater than any propaganda that they've been fed, but we still have to make sure. So that's why we move on to phase 3, test the water. Probably the second riskiest phase. We're going to ask them for advice on one of our friends who came out as trans, causing them to think outside of their own body for a second. Think about it. Here they know that you love this friend very much, so the advice that they would give you is a reflection of what they would do if someone they loved very much came out as trans. The best option is to go up to them and say something like, a good friend of mine came out as trans and I'm not quite sure how to feel about it or if I should keep being friends with them. How they respond here is very important, so pay close attention because we need to know whether we should keep them where they are on our graph or if we should move them. And we only get one chance at this, or they might just catch on. If they say something like, I don't see a problem with them being trans, that's a green flag and we should move them into the green box. We now know that they have no issue with trans people. Now, if they dodge the question and say something like, yeah, man, I don't really know what you should do, or they find some way to change the topic or brush it off, I would probably shift them over to the yellow box. It's simply too risky to pry more, and it's clear that they don't have any opinions on trans people. If they say something like, that's gross, or they're a bad influence, or they start going on a tangent about woke culture, I'd probably put them in the red box. That person is not safe to come out to as trans, and to be honest, they probably won't be supportive. All that's still not conclusive though. I had a friend and we used to play games every single day, and I asked him once, he was totally fine with like gay people and stuff, and we used to be on Discord almost every day running up games and chatting up a storm. And again, he wasn't outwardly homophobic or anything, so I told him I was trans and he said that he accepted me. Then in the coming weeks, I asked him like I did every day, you trying to get on Discord, trying to play some games? And all of a sudden he was always busy or had something to do or said that he could play later, and then later never came. What I'm trying to say is that going through these emotions, creating a graph, this can give you a good idea of who's going to be safe and what's to come. But honestly, you never really know how somebody's going to react. But then again, some people reacted exactly how I expected them to. And that's partly what makes this process so scary. And before we move on, we need to talk about our support list, which is basically a list of people that you can rely on during these times. It includes people to fall back on when you have nothing, people who are there to comfort you and give you advice when nobody else will. If you're of legal age, but you still live with your parents and both of them are in the red box, you need to ensure that at least one of the people on your support list can provide you with a temporary living situation in case your parents kick your ass out. If you don't have the ability to move yet, don't come out. At the end of the day, only you know the people in your life. And if you've collaborated my advice with your opinion on how these people would react, and you came to the conclusion that none of these people are going to be safe, you have to give life a little bit more time to get you in a better position to come out. And a therapist, they're a great addition to your support list. Even if you're not of age, you can ask for a therapist. So don't be afraid to do so. Another great addition to your support list is people in the LGBTQ community already. I know many of you who aren't out yet have trans and gay people in your community who you neglect to be friends with or reach out to you simply because of how it'll make you look or the optics of everything. I was there once. I didn't want to be friends with the gay people, but I want to let you know that it's okay to reach out to them. These people have been through the same situation that you're going through right now. Never forget that. And there's a 90% chance that that person will keep it on the down low for you and not tell anybody. They'll just support you and give you advice when you need it. So don't be afraid to give it a shot and shoot them a DM. They're a great addition to your support list along with everybody else in your green box. Everybody on your support support list should be able to keep the secret that you're trans. Coming out to everybody at once is unrealistic and it's just stressful. That's why we're finding out who's safe so we can tell those people first. And then slowly opening up. So you need to make sure that everybody on this support list is rock solid and can keep things private if needed. If you don't have the kind of support system that I'm talking about, I'm going to link a few organizations down in the description below that helps trans people in critical situations. And don't forget, I'm on your support list. I'm growing this channel to provide you with something that I think is quite rare. Solid advice, entertainment, and news as it relates to anything trans. So click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that me and you are locked in. I've also created a brand new Discord server called Trans Incorporated, and although I won't be able to respond to every message or issue that you're having, I'm hoping that if enough of you guys join, we can all engage in giving each other advice and support. Or just post pictures of our IKEA sharks and the hot chips that we're eating. I don't know, depends on the day. Link to that is in the description. Okay, phase 4, choose a time. So you know who you're gonna come out to. Now all you need to do is choose when. And my advice here is that no particular time is going to be perfect. I remember there was a point in which I wanted to come out to my brother. Every week I wanted to tell him, and the reason I didn't for a long time is because he had a football game every single Friday and I didn't want to throw him off his game. When coming out, small things like that can make you overthink and back out entirely. So yes, read the room a little bit, but at the end of the day, create a time in which you inside feel you're most ready. If you think you need to explore yourself a little bit more, that's okay. Do that and wait until you're ready. For me, there was a particular point in which I just couldn't keep it in any longer and I had to tell people. Which brings us to the last stage, coming out. Arguably the scariest part about everything. It's finally time to tell people. And I have some ideas on good ways to go about that. But unfortunately, phase 5, coming out, isn't included in this video. But if you went through all the phases, you're ready for it. And I'll link some videos below that'll get you through that last stretch. And if I see that you guys are liking this video enough, I'm gonna go ahead and make another video explaining that last stretch and how I think you should go about verbally saying it. Also, I'm going live at 10 p.m. Eastern time the day after this video drops, so you guys can catch me there if you want. I'll answer some of your questions. But until then, ladies, gentlemen, envies, I will see you in the next one.